To be a hyena, an eruption in the level flesh, the cavities and silhouettes beneath your observable world. Hyena was hungry. Hyena rolled up her human sleeves, and he saw her, and he knew her, for a velvet leper like himself. Can anyone free the hyena in themselves and live? I'm Natalie Perman, I'm a Poetry Society Young Critic, and today I'm super excited to be reviewing Fran Hyena, which was shortlisted for the T.S. Eliot Prize 2023. I just wanted to open with those lines from Hyena Builds a Bonnie to give a sense of the collection as a whole, something that's raw, raging, cannibalising the grief its poems get to the heart of, or rather, rip the heart out of. Hyena's therianthropy, its human-animal shape-shifting, sees human transformed into hyena, hyena into armoured dog, vampire into bats, bats into a mirror of meat. The book's epigraph from the Pixies' song Caribou sets the stage for the collection's form. Hyena's outro rockstar rant, or the opening world talents, are pop-punk, punk-rock elegies, anarchic yet raging lyrical, becoming music. Quote, "That which you cruelly describe as howling is in point of fact the end of a song you persist in mishearing." Prowling down the page like prose in long columns, broken up by a breathless punctuation more glitch and hitch than pause, these poems renounce all capitalization. The uncapitalized I is a challenge to the reader, an equalizing of speaker, performer and listener, a form of leveling which is both accusation and admission. As readers, we've already become complicit witnesses. Hyena is hungry, hungry for language. There's a sense of an omnivorous search for an appropriate language to digest grief. Drawing on Catholic liturgy and an Irish and traveller heritage, Hyena snatches up Irish slang, Anglo-Romani, and even Yiddishisms in her jaws. The poems not only digest, but literally metabolize grief, becoming, quote, improbably polished turds. Waste dominates the collection, with Hyena as carnivorous scavenger, constantly returning to dirt, grime, critters, blood, and meat. Meat is not neatly wrapped in plastic, but fresh and warm, bleeding from the trauma the poems write from. The refrain that this meat is for you in La Hyena de Londres echoes throughout the collection, from, quote, discs of grubby meat to, quote, the bruising taste of Szechuan pork, or, quote, the cold congealing meat of suppers spoilt. In the collection's internal and external dirt, I thought of philosopher and author Donna Haraway, who re-etymologizes the word human in humus, dirt, instead of Homo sapiens. Haraway's Companion Species Manifesto rejects anthropocentrism, seeing humans as deep in the flesh with their non-human kin, who she terms significant others. Locke's hyena, I think, is such a significant other, troubling our fixed categories of human or animal, predator or prey. Locke's described the collection as a work of queer mourning, with hyena as an uncanny queer other. This queering is a sort of making strange, and Locke shows how both the body and the mind are made strange in grief. Such as in the lines, "I am a weak person, lose my voice in rooms, in groups, can't muster a watery wherewithal, so tired of giving up his name to strangers, of making strange his name and giving up." The poems have their own particular friction in Locke's dazzling wordplay, neologisms, homonyms and puns turning around incredibly startling images within the space of a few words. In I Occupy, the threat of violence, religious and gendered oppression fuse across two lines, quote, heresy and hearsay, hearsay, a horse-drawn hearse. Hyena asks not only how one can survive grief, if it's possible to become the hyena and live, but what the role of the poet is, especially in times that demand political action. In the modern cityscape, creative potential seems to be extinguished by the power of capital, as in Pieta, quote, the abattoir vocabulary of capital, which grinds all names to mob. One name rings out from the collection's dedication, the late great Scottish poet Roddy Lumsden, whose absence is felt throughout the collection's confrontation with loss. Hyena ends in 11 poems after Lumsden. 11, the angel number to the occultists, signifies manifestation, new beginning. Lumsden seems to have this role as guardian, both infusing the collection's spirit and watching over Hyena's rampage. In Sabua, quote, hyena is not an animal, but an edge, where grief has its house, her wetted territories sing. In the collection's singing grief, hyena is a queering edge, destabilizing all centered expectation. The collection builds to new manifestation and transformation, but still, make sure you don't fall off the edge.